Queen Latifah, Black Rain. It's been a while. This is a new series that I'm starting where I'm revisiting old albums that I used to love when I was a kid, but for whatever reason I stopped listening to them. And I just want to listen to them again and just see if I still love them as much as I did 20, 25 years ago. And the first album that I'm looking at is Queen Latifah's Black Rain. This is actually the first Queen Latifah album that I ever heard top to bottom. Obviously, I'm familiar with the first two albums, but I wasn't old enough to buy my own music. So if my older brothers didn't have it or my friends at school didn't have it, then neither did I. I was always a fan of her and the people she surrounded herself with. In a lot of crews, there's the token female, but Queen Latifah was never that. In fact, in most situations, she was the focal point. Even though she looks kind of angry, just seeing this album cover brings back warm memories, so let's see if that still happens. I'm gonna take back what I said about the album cover. It doesn't look like she's angry. It looks like she's about to sneeze. This is a really bad album cover. I'm not sure why more people aren't talking about this, but at least it's not as bad as this one. The first song and third single from this album is Black Hand Side, which is a song for some reason I barely remember. I recently watched the video for it and that brought back a little bit, but for the most part this was completely wiped from my memory. The first verse in I Can't Understand is a response to the diss track Big Mama from Roxanne Shante. And if you've never heard the song Big Mama by Roxanne Shante, it is one of the greatest diss records of all time. She basically comes for the head of every female MC at the time. We're talking MC Lyte, Salt and Pepper, Yo-Yo, Moni Love, and of course, Queen Latifah. Now, Roxanne Shante is pretty famous for calling out rappers by name, especially female rappers. And my personal favorite is 1989's Whack It, a song where she purposely made a whack song just to make fun of JJ Fad. Now that is some golden era pettiness. I'm assuming the cause of this diss track is that Roxanne Shante was calling out female MCs who she saw as selling out for mainstream appeal. And she wasn't necessarily wrong about that. The singles from Queen Latifah and MC Lyte's sophomore albums, Fly Girl and When in Love respectively, were pretty soft, especially compared to their first album. For the record, Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, and Salt and Pepper all made diss tracks on their following albums, but none of them were as good as Big Mama. MC Lyte came pretty close though. Queen Latifah, for her part, responded with a pretty understandable bewilderment. Only a third of the song even addresses the beef. She just couldn't understand. Next we have Rough, featuring Tretch, Heavy D, and KRS-One. When I think of Queen Latifah, I always see her and Heavy D kind of in the same lane. They're both very charming and positive rappers, but with enough of a hard edge to not appear like too soft. Plus, they also love to flex their Jamaican roots. I think Queen Latifah probably curses more, but I always felt like they should have worked together more, and I wish I had seen more of that. Tretch also has a line on this song where he says, "I glue your titties to your tongue," which I still remember to this day, and I still have no idea what that is actually supposed to mean, if that's a threat or a promise or affection. The middle section of this album kind of drags for me, and that's not because of Queen Latifah. She's still lyrically sharp and she talks on a bunch of different topics, from rocking a party to dating to battle rapping to the obligatory 90s song about wearing condoms. I'd say the fault mostly lies in the production. This album was mostly produced by Sid Reynolds and Tony Dofat, who have very similar production styles. KG from Naughty by Nature produced No Work, which is pretty good, but all these songs back to back get a little monotonous. It wasn't until the Just the Flow interlude that my ears kind of perked up again. Mostly because, like the song title says, it's just a quick freestyle. It's not meant to be taken seriously. And because of that, it feels a little fresher. Also, this song makes a reference to Sabuda, which if you watched as much 90s TV as I did, you know is a reference to Living Single. Next up is Just Another Day, which is the second most popular song from this album. If you're not paying attention, this song sounds really laid back and chill, but she paints a pretty grim picture of her neighborhood. In the first verse of the song, she watches someone get carjacked, and then the carjackers try to start beef with her, but they back down when they realize that she has a bigger gun than they do. Also, a kid gets arrested by the police, and she walks by a wake for a 7-year-old girl that got hit by a stray bullet. But according to Latifah, this is all just another day in East Orange. Following that, we have the most popular song from the album, and possibly Queen Latifah's most popular song ever, the Grammy-winning UNITY. While watching the video for this song, I got a little teary-eyed. I guess it was the mixture of the motorcycle key that she wears around her neck, the message of the song, the little bit of acting that she does in the second verse, and just nostalgia just brought on this wave of emotion for me. There were and still are a lot of women empowerment songs, and a lot of those songs were written by Queen Latifah herself. And sometimes songs like that can come off as surface level or just generic girl power messaging. But this song feels like it came from a real place, which is why to this day this song is still so powerful. And just in case you're wondering, yes, this song and video was featured on Living Single. The song that I remember the most from this album is Winky's theme, and I think it's because she completely gave herself over to the album. And what I mean by that is, she didn't just make a jazz rap song. Yes, there's rapping in the song, but she made a decision to give us a jazz performance with a live band. And for a rapper in the early 90s, that's a very vulnerable place to be, especially considering the subject matter of the song, the death of her brother. Allowing herself to be that vulnerable is what makes it such a great song. And I'm assuming that's what makes her a great actor. I'm not sure I ever really loved this album. I think I just really love Winky's theme. And because it was the last song, it just gave me this feeling that I loved the whole album. Apart from the singles, I don't remember most of this album. I wish KG had produced more on this album because the songs that he produced tend to be my favorite ones. UNITY and Just Another Day are such undeniable classics that it's hard to be mad at this album. So have you heard Black Rain? Are you still bumping it to this day? I'm going to keep revisiting albums until I run out. Until then, I am Free Tillman, the only guy on the internet that doesn't know everything. Peace.